Welcome to Lotus Me Bloom podcast. This is your host, Madison Ansel, and this podcast is all about spirituality, self-development, my life, things I've learned. So if you're into that stuff, you found the right podcast. Today's episode is all about limiting beliefs. But before I get into that, I do want to apologize for not uploading an episode last week. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling motivated, and the energy was super intense last week for some weird reason. Like, I woke up at like 3 a.m. one day, just attacked with all this different type of energy. So I just was kind of just trying to stay grounded last week. I don't know if it was the solar flares or I know Mercury's about to go in retrograde. Maybe I should make an episode on Mercury retrograde because that's always a fun one. I don't know. Yeah, that sounds fun. Anyways, today's episode is about limiting beliefs. I want to try to make this one shorter because I know that I can just talk and talk and talk, but I want to make this super simple. But limiting beliefs are really important to work on when you are trying to manifest things, because most of the time when you can't manifest something, either it's like your self-worth or it's your beliefs. And I talked about this in my What is Manifestation episode. Everything's going to come back to self-love. So if you want to listen to that episode, highly recommend. Probably one of my favorite episodes I ever made. And so yeah, limiting beliefs, it always comes back to your beliefs. So if you can't manifest something, it's probably because there's a belief that's in your subconscious mind or consciously that is telling you you can't have it, it's not possible, etc. So that's what a limiting belief is. It literally is what it sounds like. It's a belief that is limiting. It's limiting you from having the abundance you want. So this can happen literally anytime. A lot of it is from childhood. And shadow work is the next episode I'm going to have and get more deeply into that. But a lot of it does come from childhood, but it doesn't have to though. Like, it can be from a bad experience with a friend or a bad experience with a partner. And it doesn't even have to be bad. It's just like we decided at some point that was our truth. So let me give you some examples. For childhood stuff, when we're a child, we're super open. Like, the world's great. We're not filled with all of the, low feelings of life and how it works and making money and adulting. Like, we don't have these beliefs. We think anything's possible and rainbows and butterflies, right? But as we get older to understand, our parents' beliefs usually become our beliefs. So whatever they were programmed is usually what they program onto us. So it can be like if you're trying to manifest money, but if your parents always were fighting about money or, saying things like money doesn't grow on trees and you have to work hard for money and we're broke, we can't do that. We take that belief and make it our own. So those are things you need to look at when you are trying to manifest something and it's not happening. And this is where the shadow work comes in, because for bigger, heavier beliefs that have been programmed into our subconscious mind are a little bit harder to work through because it does usually stem from childhood, but it doesn't have to be like this deep inner work all the time. Some beliefs aren't as deep. Some can shift through something I'm going to talk about later, is basically rewriting them. So limiting beliefs are going to be different for everyone. There's some beliefs that are harder to look at, and it does require a little bit more deep inner work. And then there's some that you can, acknowledge, rewrite them, say some affirmations, and be on your way, and you're manifesting your best life. It just depends on how ingrained it is and how deep it goes. So if it's super deep, that's where the shadow work comes in. But honestly, everything that I'm going to be telling you about and rewriting your limiting beliefs is healing. And anything that you do where you look at limiting beliefs and look at things that are uncomfortable is shadow work. So this is a part of shadow work. This is what shadow work is looking at what your beliefs are and why they are and how did they get there. But when I think of like shadow work for me, it's like the deep stuff, the really deep stuff. And for me, there's some things that I can work through and then it's like I released it, I'm good. And then there's things that I've been working on for years because it's just one of those things that is really ingrained and it's harder for me to work through and release. So like I said, it's going to be different for everyone. For me, I worked on my like beliefs on men and love, and it took, like a little less than a year of like really doing the work and really doing the shadow work and looking at my limiting beliefs around love. And then I found someone. And then there's things I've worked on that I keep working on, and it's just like never ending. But anyways, that's what a limiting belief is. It's majority of the time things that were programmed to us as children, and truly like, you can't blame your parents because they were just doing what was taught to them. And that's where like ancestral healing comes in and shadow work. Yeah, it gets deep, but we're just talking about limiting beliefs. I want to keep it pretty light on this one because I feel like the shadow work episode is going to be pretty deep. But you can overcome these things. Like I said earlier, I had, bad experiences with men that made me believe that, all men cheated, all men, made you feel like you weren't good enough. At some point I was like, love's not real. I had all of these stories, and it does come back to self-love and self-worth. I will say that like over and over again. But I had to sit with those beliefs and say, okay, where did this come from? Why is it here? And is it true? So this is how you can reprogram your mind and work on your limiting beliefs. And this is, like I said, a part of shadow work. Shadow work isn't something that's easy to do. It's going to make you uncomfortable. You may cry. Let it out. Let it out, because crying is a great release. So anything that you need to do to get you to this point, and if you're to this point of like, okay, I'm so over believing that I don't have enough money, and you're to the point where you want to release it and reprogram your mind and rewrite this limiting belief, then give yourself a pat on the back, because a lot of people don't do this work, guys. That's the thing. Most people go through their lives just living trauma from their childhood, living the beliefs. And that's basically what it means. Like when someone's like, oh, I broke out of the matrix. It's because they realize their power and the power of their thoughts, and that they can create their own reality and don't have to cling on to what they were taught. It's like opening your mind to a whole other world. And that's kind of like what a spiritual awakening is. I should make an episode on this, because that's just what the process is usually. It's like you wake up and realize that like people's beliefs and things that they've told you your whole life doesn't have to be your truth in your life. So yeah, if you've gotten to this point that you want to reprogram your mind, give yourself a huge like applause, because like I said, a lot of people don't do the work. And this is what you could do in therapy too. But it's truly as simple as getting a journal out and writing out, okay, this is how I feel. Why do I feel this way? Where did this belief come from? Journal all this out. And then you can write out, well, this is what so-and-so told me, and this is what I've experienced. But then you break it down and you poke holes at this belief. Okay, well, why isn't this necessarily true? Who around me proves that this isn't true? So, for example, let's do the money one. If you believe that you can't be happy and make good money, that may be a belief that was passed down to you from a parent or, a guardian, whoever. And that's what you have programmed into your subconscious mind and made your own. And that's why you feel like you're miserable and you can't do what you love and make good money. So you're ready to sit down and be like, okay, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I want to be happy doing what I love. So you'll write it down. You'll write down how you feel. Well, every time I try to do something that I love to do, it never brings me any money. I feel like I have to work hard for money because that's what was told to me. Oh, well, go a little bit deeper. If this stems from childhood, well, my parents said money doesn't grow on trees and that you have to work hard for everything. Okay. So keep writing those things down. Where did this come from? And then try to step back and realize okay, what were my parents' childhood like, You can go that deep, or you can kind of just skip that step and just be like, okay, I wrote down how I feel. I wrote down where this came from. I wrote down the experience that made me feel this way. And then start poking holes. Well, my friend Stephanie runs a business doing what she loves. She's a fitness trainer. This is an example, guys. I don't know a Stephanie. Okay, so she's a fitness trainer. She makes bank doing what she loves. And that's an example that I can do that too. So when you start to poke holes at this and come up with actual examples, whether it's a celebrity or someone you look up to on Instagram, if that person is living the life you want to live, then it's fucking possible for you. It is. You just have to work through the bullshit beliefs that keep clouding your mind. And a lot of the times they are subconscious. So journaling and poking holes at stuff will make you realize, oh, wow, this is just because that's how my dad was, or this is just because, I had this experience when I was 10 years old in 4th grade and someone told me, you had ugly shoes or something. And now I feel like I can't make a company with designing shoes. Okay, this is just an example. It's really out there. But that's the shit I'm talking about. Getting deep into where did this come from? Oh, there was one time in 3rd grade when the whole class laughed at me, and I internalized that and made it to where I feel like I'm not good enough. Okay, this is what I'm talking about with shadow work. It's the littlest shit that we forget about and we suppress that ends up coming back up. And it's just reliving. It's like playing a record. It just keeps playing and playing and playing. It never quits, and we don't realize that it's still playing in the back of our mind. So poking holes at those things and getting yourself to the point to believe that, okay, this is possible for me. This belief I had doesn't have to be mine anymore. I don't have to keep replaying this. And then start to look at your, inner talk. Okay, well, you're trying to work on money and living the life you want. Okay, well, what's your self-talk like? Do you keep saying, oh, money doesn't grow on trees, just like your family said growing up? Then you need to sit back and take a look at, okay, I need to quit saying this. And okay, if I do believe this, how can I reprogram this? And this is where the reprogramming comes in. Because once you write out your beliefs and you poke holes at them and you get to a point of being like, okay, like this is not my belief to keep. This was, my grandpa's, or this was my friend's, or just because I had this experience doesn't mean it's my truth. So rewrite whatever it is. So if you're like, okay, I can't do what I want and make money, well, rewrite it, like make it an affirmation. I am doing what I love and I make good money. You can make it an affirmation, or you can write out like, okay, well, why can you make good money and do what you love? Well, because Stephanie is doing what she loves and she's making bomb ass money. So I can too. So write out, why can you have these things? Make sure you have the proof there, and then make them affirmations. I am doing what I love. I am enough. I love myself. Reprogram those things. Listen to like subliminals. That's a program that helps get to your subconscious mind. You can listen to them on YouTube. Make sure they're from good people. You can try to make your own if you're savvy like that. Make some affirmations and put them like really quiet underneath music and listen to them before you go to bed. There's so many programs, guys, that like can help you heal and do this type of work and help you get to where you want to go. So once you poked holes and everything, you have to get to the point where, okay, well, how can I make this happen? And how can I reprogram this? And like I said, the affirmations, the subliminals, they're all things to help reprogram your subconscious mind. Taking inspired action as well. Okay, well, if there's an experience or someone you hang out with that makes you feel those ways that you don't want to feel and remind you of those limiting beliefs, maybe stop hanging out with them so much. Or maybe try to like put a boundary up, like, hey, can you please just like stop saying that? You'll find though that once you get on this journey and heal, that some of those people and those things will fall away naturally. But if it's someone you really can't avoid and you just keep hearing their limiting beliefs and them being negative and you feel like you're absorbing it and you don't have those boundaries where you feel like, okay, that's your shit, not mine. Like I said, just maybe cut back the time you spend with them. Or I like to imagine like a bubble around me, like their stuff's just bouncing off and like just going back to them. Like, I don't want to absorb your beliefs. Find like how you talk with your friends or other people. It's so normal for us to just be like, oh, it's going, life's okay, like, I'm so broke, like, girl, I don't have any money either, I feel you, like, that, like, natural, just, like, shit that we say. Start to, like, notice what you say to people, just to relate, and either don't say it or change how you say it. Oh, yeah, today's good. I'm good. And it's the best when you have people that support you and what you're doing and you let them know like, hey, I'm trying to work on this belief. So I'm going to say like affirmations and I'm going to like watch how I talk and really start to embody this new version of myself. Are you cool with that? So like when you guys are talking about, things that you may not be able to afford, be like, yeah, you know what? I'm rich. I just don't want to spend the money on it right now. Yeah, money comes to me all the time. Yeah, me and money, we're tight, Money loves me and I love money. And if they're comfortable, like if they're cool with that, do it. But like, I get it if you're just kind of like talking to like a client or like strangers or like coworkers and they're just like, what the fuck? Like, girl, you're not rich. You work at, so-and-so. Like, just try to not say the things that you would originally say. If someone's like, oh, I'm broke, don't agree with them. Don't make those your beliefs with gossiping. I know a lot of people that work with the public and they get clients and the clients are just talking about their life and how negative it is. And it's hard to try to block that out. I get it. Especially like I have someone I know that, she has said like, I've tried to like kind of block it out and not like gossip back with them or like not say anything negatively back with them. And they will comment and be like, is there something wrong? Like, you're acting different. But at the end of the day, like, you just have to do what's best for you. And maybe that'll be awakening for them to realize, oh, I'm talking a lot of shit right now. And she's not. Like, what's going on? Oh, maybe I shouldn't talk so much shit, Like, it can be a wake-up call for other people. And if you are the type that are just down to say whatever, just be like, I'm just working on my self-talk and I just don't like talking about people or, I'm trying to be more positive and I don't really want to say things to reaffirm, how I used to feel in the first place. So if you're like that type of person, go you. I know it's hard, especially like, the norm I feel like is to just complain and be negative, but the self-talk stuff really is important when you start to work on your limiting beliefs because you realize, oh wow, I'm just like affirming this. It's an affirmation. You say I'm broke every day. That is an affirmation, just like saying I am worthy every day. And you're just telling your inner self, this is your truth. This is your truth. So hopefully I explained this well. I don't want to keep going because I feel like I'm just going to keep saying the same things. And I want to keep this very specific to limiting beliefs because in my shadow work episode, which I may upload before this one, so I don't know which order this is going to be in. The shadow work episode is going to go a lot deeper into other ways you can heal and work with your trauma, but it's going to be the same type of topic on the limiting beliefs because that is a form of shadow work. They all kind of go hand in hand, and I know that I'm going to talk about self-love in my shadow work episode, and that's just going to circle back to my self-love episode. So it all like intertwines, and there's no like right way to do something. This is just how I got into healing, and this is before I really even did deep inner child stuff. I started with the limiting belief stuff and journaling, and that is so powerful. If you do anything I say in this episode, I promise you, your life is going to be different. Because when I very first got into the spirituality stuff, I learned about the limiting belief stuff, but I didn't even go real deep into the healing the inner child stuff and, trauma and stuff like that. I just did exactly what I told you guys to do. And I can't even explain to you, like, it changed my life. And eventually you might find you need to go deeper with stuff. You need to go deep and heal the inner child stuff. But you don't even have to go super, super deep with the limiting belief stuff if you don't want to. You can just say, okay, this is how I feel, and this isn't true, and this is how I'm going to feel. Like, it doesn't even have to go as deep. Of course, if it's something that's really ingrained into you, it's going to take some time, but you will feel so much different and so much lighter and just have this different feel about life when you start doing this. And if you do this, like I said, like, fucking go you. Because so many people don't deal with their shit. So many people just walk around living the same fucking thoughts and programs and shit every single day, and they don't even realize like how much it's affecting them and how their life could be different if they just shifted their mindset a little bit and changed their self-talk and looked at, okay, why is this here? Let me poke holes at it. Like it's a game changer. So that's all I have to say. I want to keep this episode pretty short, and I'm going to be coming back full force. I'm always going to have, except for last week, of course, I'm sorry, an episode on Sundays. If I upload on a Wednesday, that's my extra episode. This week, I'm going to try to upload Wednesday and Sunday. But I'm always going to have one on Sunday. And I'm basically trying to get myself to just be like, just upload once a week. It's fine, dude. Like, as long as you're uploading. But I want to have content for you guys to listen to. So, yeah, if there's a Wednesday, just know I gave you a little something extra. But if you guys want to find me, all my social medias are at Lotus Me Bloom for my business. If you are interested in intention setting candles, crystals, my fall candles are coming out. I just need to get all my products in. That will be on lotusmebloom.com. My personal Instagram, TikTok is at Madison Ansel, MadySonancell. All that stuff's going to be in the show notes. But I would love if you guys could leave this a review and share this with your friends or your social media, whatever. It just really helps the podcast grow. But I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.